number of records.
I know, but he looked at me, you know, I know exactly, but look, doesn't he just look like
I do.
look at this.
Hi, my name is Paul Cassell and I'm a professor at the University of Utah College of Law. It's been my privilege to represent a number of the victims of the two 737 Boeing MAX crashes. Today we met with the Department of Justice for about 5 hours, and remarkably the Department of Justice refused to answer all of our serious questions about what is going on in this case. We have no real information about whether the Justice Department will shortly be moving to dismiss the charges against Boeing. It seems to us that the Justice Department, unfortunately, continues to be in bed with Boeing and continues to try to cut. It appears to us that the Justice Department is continuing to give a wealthy, powerful, well-connected corporation benefits that any other defendant in the criminal justice system would never get. If the Justice Department moves to dismiss the charges against Boeing this summer, we will fight them at every opportunity. And it's my privilege now to turn the microphone over to family members who will also express their concerns about what happened today.
Whoever likes to speak, please step up. Javier?
Hi, my name is Javier Luis, and my sister was on board Ethiopian 302. Look, this agreement, the foundation of this agreement is based on 3 lies. They lied to us when they told us there wasn't any. Investigation. They lied to the judge when they told him we weren't victims, and they lied to the American people by inflating the numbers, the penalties that Boeing had to pay, putting in stuff that they would have had to pay anyways because they sold airplanes that were defective to airlines. It is inconceivable to me that 4 months since the Alaska Air door blowout, there's even a question of whether things have changed at this company. I would think the answer would be obvious. I hope the Justice Department reaches that same obvious conclusion.
Next person, please look to this camera.
Who would like to speak next?
Everybody.
Catherine, would you like to speak before? Hey, Paul. This is Paul Giroge from Canada.
Hi, thank you for being here. My name is Paul Giroge. I lost my wife, our 3 children, my mother-in-law, in the crash of Ethiopian Airlines, flight ET302. Well, we met with the Department of Justice today. What we as the victims of this crime have been trying to argue is that the Department of Justice did not confer with us when they were writing this DPA, and we've been trying to understand the decision making, the exchange of information between the Department of Justice and Boeing that led them to make that sweetheart deal with Boeing. And we've been calling for this DPA to be reopened so that we can have a fact-finding process, make sure that the Boeing principals are criminally prosecuted. We know what happened with Alaska Airlines Flight 1282, and at this point, the flying public and everybody should know, the public should know that it's a rebuttable presumption that all Boeing's planes are defective. You can only fly and you can only be at peace flying in a Boeing plane if you can rebut that proposition that the plane is defective. So we've heard from whistleblowers. We know that there are a lot that when it comes to internal controls framework within Boeing, they failed completely. We know that we still have so many employees who are not heard. It's a shut-up culture within Boeing. We need Boeing executives to start embracing a speak-up culture, and that's the only way all these issues will change. That's the only way we're not going to have another plane fall from the sky. Thank you.
Hello, hi, my name is Zipporah Kuria. I am from London, UK. I lost my dad, Joseph Kuria Waithaka, on the ET302 crash. I think today's meeting with the DOJ has left me quite disheartened, and as a member of the international community, it begs to ask the question, what we have looked at as the semblance of justice, and the one place we thought that we could speak and be heard and be understood, it's just been really disappointing, you know, and I hope that moving forward that the Department of Justice, in terms of the decisions that they make in regards to DPA, we implore them, we beseech them to make the right decision, because ultimately what the Department of Justice does in America sets a tone for what justice looks like globally, and all we have encountered and we keep encountering with the Department of Justice is a miscarriage of justice over and over again. It begs and it leaves me with a question of, is the Department of Justice here to pioneer for the freedoms and the justice of the people, or are they here to continue to confer with companies and to continue to just give a slap on the wrist for bad behavior? And it left me with a question: what is required to do the right thing? You know, do we need another crash? Alaska was such a close call. So many families could have been in the same position as us, and we're employing and really besieging the Department of Justice to make the right decision, to make sure that nobody else has to go through what we have gone through. Nobody else has to encounter the things that we have encountered. But today it was another day of just being stonewalled, being given, you know, placating condolences of, we're so sorry and we just hope we can make the right decision. But I think it's up to us as the people to really hold them to account and actually hope and trust and I guess almost pray that they will do their jobs, that they will do what the right thing is in this situation. It's not about our justice anymore. It's not about the miscarriage of justice for us anymore. It's about the public safety. You know, it's really easy to look at us and feel sorry for us and send your condolences and heartfelt wishes, but there's a time and a moment which we did that for others, but we didn't know we would be on the receiving end. So I would say to the flying public, hold them to account, because they're not holding Boeing to account and they're not holding themselves to account. And if we fail to do so, we're literally risking and putting our lives in the hands of people that don't mind playing a roulette game or, you know, risking our lives. They don't mind us being the price that is paid over and over again and being the price that is paid to do what's right.
Yes, I am Catherine Berthet, I'm French. I lost my daughter Camille, Camille, in the crash of the AT302. She was 28 years old and she used to work as a humanitarian in Africa, in refugee camps in Central Africa and South Sudan. This is not the first time that I come here. I came in Fort Worth, Texas, in the 5th Circuit Court in New Orleans last summer, and this time again in front of the DOJ. And I should say that again we are disappointed. It is as if we can expect nothing more than disappointment. We had great expectations before that meeting today. When coming, we hoped that we would have explanations about that DPA was built, about it was written, and we hope that at the light of the recent events with Alaska Airlines blowout panel, we would have some explanations and they would have learned some lessons, both DOJ. Of course, we can't expect too much from Boeing. They never learn lessons. It seems that they won't never learn lessons, but it seems that DOJ doesn't learn lessons anyway, because they say everything that they could say again and again for 5 years is, we understand you, we understand your frustration, we hear about you. But actually, we are not frustrated, we are angry, we are so angry, and we want to know. It's not complicated, they just have to do their job. They ask us, okay, we will hear you if you give us evidence. We are considering every evidence you can give us. But what? We are not doing their job. We don't have subpoenas, we don't have anything they have. We talked about them, we talked to them about the whistleblower session last week and about the ODA panel report. Have they looked at it? Have they listened to it? Have they heard the whistleblowers? We don't know. And you know what? It seems like if Boeing with the Alaska, this is not an incident actually. This is a crash that didn't happen, and they had chance. And we always keep saying we don't want a third crash to happen. But it seemed that beginning of January, just 2 days before the expiration of the DPA, oops, I did it again. This is Boeing's song. Oops, I did it again. And what will do the DOJ? They say they will investigate. And so what? Another DPA. Oops, I did it again. But this time, I contacted the families by telling them they are family, possibly victims of crime. So thank you for hearing us and keeping listening to us. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Ike, did you want to say something? This is Ike Riffle.
Hello, my name is Ike Riffle. Hello, my name is Ike Riffle. These are my two sons, Mel and Bennett Riffle. They were on ET-302 when it crashed in the desert in Ethiopia. These two boys trusted Boeing. I trusted Boeing that they would have a good flight, but we found out later that Boeing wasn't to be trusted. Our boys were were two of the 5 Americans on these flights here, and most of these people have come from overseas to come to this DPA meeting and stuff like that. And that as an American citizen, I am very embarrassed the way our DOJ has handled this case. They made a secret deal behind doors with Boeing that we knew nothing about. It was later found that this deal was illegally made, and they continue to fight for the executives of Boeing and not for the families. And thank you very much. That's what I have.
Hi, my name is Nisha Connolly Ryan. I've flown in yesterday from Ireland. My husband was Mick Ryan. He worked for the United Nations World Food Programme. He was the Deputy Chief Engineer. I came here today because I wanted to see what the Department of Justice had to say, particularly after the January 5th Alaska Airlines accident. And we've been beating the same drum for the last 3 years. You know, we don't want a third crash. And as Catherine said, this was the third crash that didn't happen. We don't want anyone waking up to our situation. So we're hoping that the Department of Justice will do the right thing now and and do not dismiss the charges against Boeing. This deferred prosecution agreement was a miscarriage of justice right from the start. It should never have come about. Boeing should have been prosecuted for manslaughter for the deaths of 346 people. If it wasn't for Judge O'Connor in the state of Texas, we wouldn't even be here today because we wouldn't have been recognized as crime victims. And we're hoping that Judge O'Connor will continue to stand by us and stand by the public and do the right thing and find that Boeing is guilty. Thank you.
Any other family members want to say anything?
Good afternoon. I'm Yelena Lopez Lewis, the widow of Captain Antoine Lewis, who died on ET-302. I'll be brief in just saying that the lack of transparency, the handling of the case by the DOJ just yields disappointment from me. For it to have been 5 years, I don't feel like we've made much progress. It's extremely disappointing, disheartening. To be met with so many I don't knows, I haven't read this report, I'm unaware, is unacceptable. It's unacceptable, and I just don't think that we're really getting anywhere with them. They say they hear us, but I don't feel heard, and there's no way that I can stand here before you and tell you that I have trust and confidence in the process with the DOJ. I've lost all trust, faith, and confidence in their abilities to make sound decisions as it results in looking for justice for us and serving the families of the victims of all the crashes. And that's all I have to say.
Anyone else, or Paul, do you want to just wrap it up then here, please?
Yeah.
Any final words?
In terms of what happens next, the Justice Department in the next 6 weeks will be deciding whether to drop the charges against Boeing. We certainly hope they do the right thing and continue to pursue this case, continue to pursue it through a jury trial so the public can understand what happened when 346 people were killed. And we're happy to continue discussions individually if people have questions as well.
Thank you all for coming. And there's a couple of statements that conclude the press conference. And if there are a couple of statements, there are letters rather that Paul Cassell wrote to the DOJ. I have one of them here, or you can find them at cliffordlaw.com. They're posted there if you need to see what he presented to the Department of Justice for today's meeting. Thank you very much for coming. I appreciate your patience, but the meeting did go long. We came down as soon as we could. Thank you to everybody. And thank you, of course, to the families. Some of them came, as you can see, very long distances to be a part of this, and they continue to be a part of it. And they're great. Thank you.
Maybe we ask you to answer one question.
Sure.
Dave Shepardson from Reuters.
Yeah.
So the government did they give you any sense of sort of the metrics or the process they're going through to determine whether Boeing's conduct specifically in terms of the Alaska Air mid-air emergency, whether that constitutes a breach of the DPA?
We got no new information other than what the public has already read in the media. We were given promises and platitudes that they were looking at everything very carefully, but they refused to give even a single specific about what they were doing and how they were investigating the Alaska Air blowout.
Did they confirm they are investigating?
The Justice Department the Justice Department said that they could confirm what has already been made public, that they're investigating the Alaskan Air blowout. But they gave us no more information than what's been in the public domain for several weeks now.
Beatrice Peterson, ABC News. Can you talk to me a little bit about what accountability looks like? You had this meeting for 5 hours. You guys came with a lot of questions. What were you looking to get answered, and what does accountability really look like?
Accountability for us is moving forward to a trial in the Northern District of Texas. Remember, Boeing has already admitted it committed a crime there. Charges have been filed in Texas. We simply want that case to move forward and let the jury decide whether Boeing is a criminal or not.
Do you think it's a realistic outcome that the government would opt to extend the agreement by 1 year and then seek to impose some sort of monitorship to try to have some sort of enhanced oversight of Boeing?
Well, we're hopeful the Justice Department will do something to try to hold Boeing accountable. We think the best thing to hold them accountable is to move forward on the charges that have been filed. The DPA was negotiated illegally. The families were not told about what was going on in violation of federal law. So the DPA should drop out of this case, and what should move forward is the charges that have already been filed against Boeing.
Did they say 6 weeks is how long it's going to take them to reach a conclusion? How did you get to that number?
They told us that they are going to give Boeing at least 30 days notice about whether they're going to dismiss the charges or not. And so that takes us to about 30 days in front of July 7th when the 6-month review period expires.
Well, this is being so blind. We have a question on this. If you could explain about the 6 weeks they're asking and the deadline is July 7th and how they came about.
Yes. The DPA says that after the conclusion of the agreement, which occurred on January 7th of this year, the Justice Department has 6 months to review what Boeing has done and whether they complied with the agreement. That 6-month review period ends on July 7th, 2024, this year obviously. And so the Justice Department has said they're going to try to make their decision 30 days in advance of that, and then let either the families know that they've decided to drop the charges, or to let Boeing know that they're going to move forward with the charges. Of course, if we hear the Justice Department is moving to drop the charges, we will fight that aggressively in the Northern District of Texas and anywhere else that we need to.
What would that look like? I mean, obviously you file a motion opposing the government's decision, but would there be any witnesses? What are the options of the judge in terms of how he could, Judge O'Connor could opt to do that?
So last December, the Fifth Circuit ruled that before these charges could be dropped, there has to be a finding that it would be in the public interest to do so. And so we understand that there would be a hearing before any of the charges were dropped, that there would be briefs submitted, potentially witnesses who would testify, but it ultimately would be up to Judge O'Connor as to how he was going to make that determination. And we certainly hope that the determination would be that these charges will move forward to a jury trial. We don't understand how anyone could object to having a fair-minded jury evaluate whether the criminal charges are accurate or not and reach a finding one way or the other.
Did the DOJ make any indication they'll have any follow-up meetings with you all?
We're not sure what the next follow-up steps are going to be from the Justice Department. They were very vague about that. We believe that they will be sending some answers to questions that we propounded today, but at this point we got very few answers to our questions and very little guidance on what's going to happen in the future. All right.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you.
All right, buddy.
Oh, thank you so much. Okay. Oh yeah, they sent it too. Apparently they sent it. Okay. Thanks, I appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for it. Hey guys, we're going to go to the airport, so good to see you, okay? Well, I'll be in touch, okay? I'll be up in a couple weeks. I'll be up there for you. Okay? You know, he's my guy. He's my guy. He's my guy. Oh, my. Oh, I broke my leg, yeah. I'm good. Oh, I'm so ready. Thank you for working. This is awesome. Okay, we're in touch. You're it, kid. Okay. Yeah. You spoke so well.
I'll be right back.
Please go ahead.
But I'll send it. I'd be happy to send it to you.
Okay.
Yeah, a couple of them. Sure.
If the government, what is your sense of the meeting?
Does it have a spelling?
So the agreement says, okay, paragraph 22, here are 5 things that it can do to clear it. The one that we've been focusing on is specification. So they certified, hey, here's an airplane, ship shape, most of it,